think I'm there. Apologies if you're watching this second time round. I am still getting the hang of the whole YouTube live through OBS. It's all very confusing. Hi Rob. Were you one of the poor suckers that had just seen this webcam, although I thought was actually doing really well, is not? So I may end up disabling it if it becomes irritating. Anyway, hello, how are you all? All two of you, I think there is. If the camera becomes irritating, let me know and I'll turn it off. I think some of it's the light, because pretty much my light arch is here and I think it's sort of slap bang in your face, so I'm guessing that's probably why we're going to have issues. I don't know whether buffering makes a blind bit of difference. Or we'll just turn it down. I seem to be completely frozen. What a nice angle there to be frozen at. Right, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to take it off. Okay. Yes, me using pastels. Shocker. I did have my pan pastel out, but I've put it all away, and quite frankly, my head doesn't know what it's doing right now. So all you can see is this bright light in my face. Let me move you and then I'll just get on with it. You're going to get a full 360 view of the office at this rate. How about that? That's probably going to fall. That's about as exciting as it's going to get. Okay. So I've been using the pan pastel for the main base and Carbocellos and Pit. So Carbocellos are Stabilo and Pit is Faber-Castell. I'm just going to do it very quick. If I can. I should have done all this before. Sorry, guys. I am live over on my YouTube channel if you want to come and join us. Just shoving that on my Instagram. Done. I have some Derwent pastel pencils. The portrait set. Do you know what? Honestly, I've felt since using this paper that I could quite honestly. By the way, if you can't hear me very well, let me know because I have a new microphone that I can just move like so. I honestly feel like I could actually quite happily use pastels if I use this particular paper. because I find it irritates me. That's really in my face. Let's just turn that off. I find that I can, and I've turned the wrong one off. Hang on. It's going really well. Really, really well. Should we try again? There we go. It's that one I want to turn off. Yes, as I was saying, I find I can use it without feeling really, really sick. So I reckon actually there's a lot more I can do with these. So I'm quite looking forward to doing. You can do it now, Rob. It's all up and ready. I got it all sorted out yesterday, essentially, just to make it easier for everybody. I'm just going to move you over slightly so you're more in the middle. Okay. There we go. I'm not going to bother with the nose because we'll be here for absolutely ages. So what I'll do is I shall crack on with the bits up here. But that noise I can put up with. It's that squeaking that you get with the smoother papers that I just can't cope with. But I can cope with these. I'm waiting for a black pan pastel to turn up. It's that squeaking I can't bear. Let me move. See, I don't get that squeaking with the pits. I only get it, well, she says, and now it's doing it. I get it less with the pits. And I like the fact that you can move in any direction and not have to worry. So I'm using they call these colour shapers. But you tend to get a lot less dust, a lot less fallout when you use these. When I was doing it on the smoother paper, I did find it went really muddy, and you do have to be careful because there are sections in here where it has picked it out. But I find if you just clean your pastel pencil and go over it again, it unmuddies itself. So you have sort of less of that issue. Right, I'm getting ahead of myself here really. I need to carry on finishing this bit. I've referenced pictures miles away now, so. But yeah, I found on the pastel mat, you get a lot less of the muddiness. And I can use my finger on the pastel mat and not really freak out. I don't know if it's just because I'm trying to get over it or whether or not it genuinely feels better under my finger. So I can go over it. I do have to have a baby wipe next to me, but you get really, really soft. It has done it here. It has picked up the black, so you can just simply go over that again and it will take the muddiness out and give you a much cleaner look. quite a few shades of grey and yellow in the first strokes. I found a really nice grey to actually do the finer ones with, and it's the Pit Pastel, which is 121270. No, I haven't shared anything to any groups. I've sort of given up a little bit on doing all this in Facebook, to be honest. This sort of takes out the work of having to download the live feeds from Facebook and then having to upload them again, because you lose quite a lot of quality when you do that. So if I do it straight in to YouTube, in the long run, I can reach a wider audience. It's all part of experimenting. If you find you have trouble commenting, rather than try and comment from your app, open the web browser on your phone and try it from there. It doesn't always work, but I have heard it's a solution. You are more than welcome to share it out. In fact, I don't know whether I can, because that's the other downside to the Facebook. One was the quality, and two was every time I tried to share it come up as a sales post, which I find stupid. Let's see if it works, shall we? Ah, thank you. I'm really pleased with the eye, actually. I'm really pleased with how it's come out. It's not quite as green. I need to add a bit more green in it, really. In fact, no, I won't do it now. I'll do that after. No, I will do it now, actually, while it's fresh in my mind. It does need a touch of extra green in there. There we go. I lose a little bit of colour saturation, which is really quite frustrating. Now this one isn't a black, this is like a really dark grey, but it's an almost black, so to save my black I use this to go underneath. Do you want me to bring you in a bit? Let's bring you in a bit. If that's out of focus, let me know, because I may need to just refocus the camera slightly, but it might be nice for you to see it a bit closer up. I like the fact that you can just wash over the colours and just soften them all up. So I'm using, it's almost like a ivory colour. And it just takes some of that starkness that you can get with white, because generally white fur is not white. So I'll pretty much go between those colours. See, it's picked up some of the black there, but once you go over it a few times, if you find it's going muddy, just get yourself a kneadable eraser or a bit of blue tack and lift that colour off. Bad rule, that is. Bad, not bad rule, bad habit. Never blow on your work, but I'm really terrible at it. Because you can't use your finger, you can't use a brush. Just make sure you don't spit. Because then you'll ruin it. I have got, and I should use it, a little puffer tool. Which sort of just blows air for you. I should really get my arse in gear and use that more often, but it's way over the other side of the desk. So for today, you'll have to put up with my bad habits. So he's got an eyebrow. Let me get my black and white reference out from hiding. We have got right across here an eyebrow, and we actually have one up here. So I'm going to find the sharpest point on my pencil and just take that over, and then the one big one that goes across there. Now that doesn't go quite in as far as that, so we'll magically erase that with some black. I honestly didn't think that I would enjoy the process of pastel pencils, but dagnammit, it's another thing to enjoy. So far, yes. In all honesty, so far, yes. I love doing them in pencils, but to be honest, the scale I did the last tiger at was A3, so it was huge, and it was a lot of work to do in pencil. And I'd wish I had the pan pastels to do the base then. But this has rendered up a lot quicker. All of this sort of area was done in around 2.5 hours. I'm working on a cheater on Pastelmat. If you get a very sharp point on your pencil and use a short, sharp stroke, you can go over the black without smudging. Oh, yeah, you've just got to have that confident sweep, haven't you? That's what you got to do. When I come around to do this, we've got a few sort of eyebrows and wispy bits that go on. It's finding your sharp bit on your edge and just getting that in. But I like that. Yeah, it's just there's a lot that the pastel saves with regards to work. Personally, I think I should just get on a pat on the back for even trying them, considering how disgusting they were to me. Vile things. They're just gross. They just, yeah, they take a lot to... Every now and then I'll catch them and then they'll make me feel a bit queasy. Yeah, I think that's the problem, in all honesty. I will get hooked. And I've got an A5 book anthracite colour, which is really nice. So I feel a series of owls and birds of prey and cat's eyes coming on. Oh, it's that squeak. Ugh. I'm going to redo the cheetahs that I did about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Can't remember how long ago it was now. I think it must have been about 2 years ago. I'm going to redo them in pastel. And I'd like to, one, compare the difference between the drawing level, and two, just to see the difference in how they come out. It will be interesting. I was watching a tutorial the other day and he was using them how I was using them originally, and that sort of made me feel a bit better about myself and the fact that I lacked confidence in them. And I like the fact that you can take a photo of them and you don't have to keep fighting with getting the colour right. My camera seems to like getting pictures quite accurately of the colour. The only thing is the job of sharpening them. It's quite arduous, I think. Have got, in fact I think I'm going to have to use it on this. I've got a little bag with my sanding block hanging off the side of my desk, purposely just so I can catch all the dust. I'm sure I'll find a use for it at some point. I like to, I know everyone works differently, but I like to get in the edges on the white before I fill in any of the black. And then I can judge whether or not I need to come in or out with regards to the shape. Because it can just be adjusted. Ugh. Chalkboard. I seriously need to put stabilisers on my desk. It keeps wiggling. I need to come up a bit more here. Probably until I finish this, to be honest, depending on how many times the kids decide to come and interrupt me. Maybe a couple of hours. I think it'd be nice to not necessarily see my process, as everybody works differently, but yeah, I did the same when I did it in colour pencil. I worked on the first strokes on the edges and then concentrated on the middle. It just helped me define the shapes a bit easier. So in here, where I've come straight in and you've got this massive sort of block area, I can now just gently go in the other direction and soften it all up. I'm sure there's other methods of doing it, it's just this happens to be my method. And just a gentle, I found, gentle rub out can really soften the edges. The tiny bit up here I've missed, it just streams off. Okay, well, any length of time's great, all helps. So if I can just get as much as I can done, then at least it gives you an idea. To be honest, I don't know how people sit and watch so long anyway. So here now it's too jaggedy, so, and in here, so we're just going to soften that now up to where I feel it can have a more of a natural stop. My cat's asleep on the other desk chair over the other side of the room, and all you can hear is her snoring. There we go, so it's got a much more natural edge to it. Oh, drop the pencil. This is where the pan pastels would just save me time, and pastels. So can you see clearly enough? Is this, I think this is better quality than when I do it over on Facebook. Hi Joe. I haven't yet, but I do know people that work only on Pastelmat with colour pencils and they get some amazing results. I do intend to, when I start doing some more, start bringing the pencils in to have a go. And I understand actually you can work quite easily with light over dark as well. I'm quite tempted to go in with the eye and do a little bit more with pencils on the eye. But I wanted to get familiar with the paper first. But I do know quite a few that do that. The things with pastels as well is I've found that you have to layer quite a lot to get the opacity that you need. If you don't, it can sit very flat. Ah, good. Yeah, I think it is better quality. Is the sound okay? I don't know that I prefer it. I am sort of leaning a little bit towards the pastels at the moment for animals. It panics me, the thought of having to do a person portrait. And that's what I need to get over, because I don't know if you remember voting in my group. And did I show you the picture that I intend on doing? That shape's really annoying me. I've got a person to do in that, and it's scaring the living bejesus out of me, so I've got to get over that. Where I'm much more comfortable with pencils doing skin tone. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be any good. We'll soon find out. There's only one way to get over a fear, isn't there? This, I like this, the speed of pastels. That's what I'm liking. And never mind the fact you can go light over dark. That's just a whole different... all different colour of fish. think it's probably actually the speed I like the most. Yeah, I definitely want to do a mini series on the anthracite. It's a really, really nice grey. I will be. Most definitely. It's part of the reason why I wanted to have a go at doing them. And I'm also going to probably do one in acrylic. I don't know if you've seen my post about the... I started recording the tutorial and then I moved my mic, and to do that I had to unplug it. And then forgot to plug it back in for the last 25 minutes. Which is pretty unhelpful, to say the least. Yeah, I thought it would be good to do one in pastel, but I just, you know, I want to get a bit more confident in them yet. So probably another couple of months, I reckon, and then I'll look at getting a tutorial done. Yeah, it's the only trouble with colour pencil is, I mean, it's incredibly rewarding because if you know, you think that you can spend 30 plus hours, you got to be pretty proud of yourself for having the patience to do that. But it would be nice to have a faster medium. Yeah, all the colours are on there, Joe. As with all my tutorials on Patreon, all the colours are listed on the first, well, on each section actually. I repeat the colours. Giving it a quick sharpen. Yeah, the lorikeet one would be a really nice one because it's really pretty. Colours are nice and cheerful. Oh, bless you, Joe. Well, I'm hoping now I've got the YouTube live sussed, although it was a bit of a mess on my earlier attempt. I know what I'm doing now. I'm going to be doing more lives, but the lives will probably be focused over here purely because the quality is just so much better. Plus, it's easier to save better quality over on here than it is over on Facebook. It's quite a different colour on his left side to his right. It's looking quite pink down the screen, but he's not, he's quite yellow. It's easier to do than if you use the indentation method, because that's how I did my first tiger. There's a time lapse of him on my YouTube channel, Rob. I don't know if you probably have. But to do his whiskers, I use the indentation method, and it is quite effective. Using a bit of my sharpness there, just gonna get some of that back. Softening that out a bit. That's better. I'm using both Carbothellos, which is Stabilo, and Faber-Castell Pit. I'm using a bit of a mix of the two. One for colour choice, and two, sometimes I find one will lay down a bit better than the other. And if one squeaks too much, then I'll swap. Took me forever last time to do these bits. Each time I wasn't happy with it, and actually that's probably another bonus to these pencils, is it's quite nice how much you can, or this paper as well, how much you can layer over. Sounds like it's getting mighty windy out there. Right, I'm fiddling now, it's irritating me, so I'm just going to move on before you lot get bored to death. Thank goodness for baby wipes. That's all right, ask away. Pastelmat. Clairefontaine Pastelmat. I'm just going to trim my black pit pastel. I'm just using a blade, a scalpel blade, to very quickly. I don't know why I said trim. I meant sharpen. Just using a standard scalpel blade. I'm just going to have a go on this larger area here, which isn't as large as I think I've drawn it out to be. There's quite a few patches, but I think that comes up a bit further. It tends to squeak less on the paper. I can't find my kneadable eraser, not that I get on very well with them, so I'm just going to use some blue tack. Just have to turn it a lot. There's a reason you wouldn't use your Tombow for this, because Tombow will create, in fact I'll show you, because it's well not sanded, but it's got that texture. When you use a Tombow, as much as they're great, I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, it's absolutely caked in eraser. So you can't just sweep or brush like you would with standard paper. So an eraser or a kneadable eraser is best. Got a little bit in there. There's not much in the way that sort of brushes into this particular part. In fact, I'd say it's harder in the earlier layers. Once you start building up and the tooth starts filling up, it tends to be a bit less painful on the ears, for me anyway. Some tiny bits, not much. This is where your greys come in, because you just get some nice just make sure you go in the direction. So you can either use pencil stubbies, but actually I find that you get quite a lot of dust. You can use cotton buds, but I find them gross. So I'd actually rather put up with it on my finger than use one of those tools. I'll try. Not much difference. You get that nice shadow in there without it looking muddy. And again, if you're going to use your finger, go in the direction of the fur. Don't go in another direction, otherwise you're just going to make it look really muddy. You don't want that. Reference photo is so far away from me, I have no idea what I'm actually looking at properly. I've set up the new desk so I can swap between my Spectrum the Wild products and watercolours and things like that easily without having to keep bringing my desk down and altering my desk, but now my monitor's like 50,000 feet away. Ugh. Ugh. The things I do for art, people. The things I do. Yuckity yuck yuck. I might have to bring the reference up on my phone. I can't believe I've waited this long. Can I even find it? Let's have a look ski. No, because I don't appear to have sent it to myself because I'm really, really clever like that. Okay, let's do that quickly now if I can. Here and here. There we go. Sent. Okay, I can actually see what I'm doing now. Goodness gracious me. Right, so we don't want half of that in there. Seriously, my desk needs stabilizers. Much shorter hairs under here, so this is why the nose took me, or is taking so long, because I've still yet to get all the highlights in there. But I'm going to be there forever, so. There are bits of black in the nose area here, so I'm not too worried about this being absolutely clean of black. We've got sort of little patches here and there. This bit comes right out, and we've got a patch there. We've got a patch here. Let's just get this filled in. See, the base coats, layers, whatever you want to call it, if I was doing it in pencil, I'd be really worried about making sure I go in the direction of the fur, which is why I'm doing it with pastel. But when you do pan pastels and things like that, you don't necessarily need to worry as much when you're doing the base. So you do when you start coming up into the top layers. And to be honest, it's not a bad habit to get into, so even if I do it unnecessarily, it's not a bad thing. You probably can't quite see. I don't know if you can see better now. This is where the black pan would save an awful lot of work. If you are new to watching me, feel free to come and ask any questions. I will try and answer them if I can. If you're trying to answer a question and you are having trouble and you're on your phone, it's worth trying to pop over to the YouTube on your what's the word I'm looking for? The desktop site rather than using the app. Doesn't work for everybody, but it does work for some. Darker one, I think. More yellower as he sort of spreads out. They're much darker in sort of the central zone, and then as you come out they become a bit lighter, a bit more yellow. Camera's making out that there's no colour difference between these two areas, but there is. I know it's a cheeky ask, but if you are watching, a sneaky like on the video. I don't know if you're able to do that or not while you're watching, but that would be amazing if you could, as it's all helpful in the long run. Also, if you're not subscribed and you want to get notified each time I go live or a new video gets uploaded, then of course just hit the little bell icon. Of course, I normally notify you anyway in the groups, but just in case. Right, what I'll probably do is go until an hour and a half, so I think we got 20 minutes. So let's see what we can get done in that time, shall we? Now I've got my reference in front of me, I can see that actually this top part is turning yellow. That's worth getting that in now. Otherwise, knowing me, I'll forget. There is the odd one that not quite that far, but jumps out into that area. There we go. Also, if I can get a sharp enough tip on the white, oh dagnammit, snapped. I've got a hold in my hand. No, this is going to make me heave if I'm not careful. So we've got these long ones to get in. Oh god, it's just gross. Oh, I can't even think. Nope, can't do it. Yuck. Right, just get the long ones in where they need to be, and then I'll come back. I'm missing one. I think I just pushed too hard on the sandpaper. Just yuck. All a bit too straight for my liking. That one does actually come all the way down, so we'll draw that one in. You can probably hear next door's dogs, so apologies about that. A gnat walks past and they get set off. Great, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Or even what's better? I was hoping to finish him, but I don't think I am over alive. So we'll finish him at some point. And then what I'll probably do is when I work on the next one on the anthracite colour, I'll do another live then. He turns white here. It's probably just off camera, hang on. Torture over a live feed this is. I'm going to have to do that because I don't think I can put up with it the other way around. I swear it sounds like cats are running up and down on my office roof. Right, so we've got another 10 minutes. Get done what we can. Camera doesn't seem to be picking up any of the yellow, which is quite frustrating. I wonder if I move in whether or not that makes a difference. No. Getting there, isn't he, Joe? thing I learned from doing it on the smooth paper to the pastel mat is the smooth paper, obviously there's only so many layers you can get on there. Whereas the pastel mat is a lot more forgiving and gives you an awful lot of layers, so you can really get in there and get the opacity that you want with your pastels. Just using the lighter one to just draw in the dark, so I'm happy where it needs to go before I go putting it all in. The last thing I'm going to do, I'll show you very quickly, is coming in with the lighter grey. I don't know whether this is going to be picked up on the camera, but where the light is hitting, we all know that, you know, blacks are never black. So eventually I will come in with the grey, and certain areas where the light's hitting and you've got the shine, I will come in and add that grey, and then that way it the black fur then doesn't look so flat. Certainly up in these areas the light's catching, so it needs just that little bit extra, like I say, so it doesn't look so flat. Actually these bits need just try and get a bit of a edge without snapping it this time. There's a bit in here that just, these bits need just a little extension in. There we go. So that's what I will do. I will come back with the greys. I probably could have saved time, to be honest, by just using the blender on the first couple of layers, but I haven't bothered. It's not a problem, but it might have saved time. It's actually a really nice way of getting fine lines. You can just flick it out like you would a paintbrush. You can get some quite nice, delicate shading, and then you just need to, where it's obviously brought the colour in, just need to go back over. Like so. Any tools that make your life easier have got to be a good thing, right? This orange works really, really well for tigers. I'm going to be here for some time layering up these particular areas in here. What I might do is on the next live stream is give you guys a reference and we'll do it together. Quite tempted to do an eye. In fact, I might do that. Let's do that on the next live feed. I'll plan where the next live feed is going to be and we'll do a draw along. What do you reckon? If you're watching this later on and you want to do a draw along with me, just comment below. If you're watching it now and can't comment, maybe pop over to the live feed when it's finished and just pop a comment underneath if you fancy giving it a go. And what I could do is I can pop the reference photo up in the Facebook group. If you're not already in there, come and join us. Yeah, and then we'll do a little draw along. Maybe try pastels. You don't have to use the pastels. You can do colour pencils. But we'll give it a go, shall we? Right, we've hit the we've hit the 1 hour 30 mark. Apologies for the absolute mess that was the beginning of the live feed. I don't think that camera could cope with the amount of light I was throwing at it, which is really frustrating because it was a really, really good camera when I was having a play with it earlier. And the quality was actually better than what I'm using right now. So I'm going to stop it here. Thank you for sitting and watching. And if you've got any questions that you can't comment below for, then just pop over to the Facebook group and ask me there. And I will answer what I can. But I shall see you soon. See you on the next live. Take care, everybody. Bye.